Welcome to Spiritually Raw. We expose and explore controversial truths, myths, and theories surrounding the spirit world. Guests include QAnon experts, investigators, debunkers, and skeptics of the supernatural, unexplained, and flat-out unimaginable. Content discussed on this show is not necessarily the opinion of the cast of Spiritually Raw, and topics quite often are for mature audiences only. This show is not intended to replace any medical, financial, or legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Spiritually Raw. Thank you so much for your energy exchange with us today. We hope you woke to the most miracle morning and are also having the most fortunate day today. As you can see, we have our good friend, Dr. Charlie Ward, here with us, and he's going to update us and enlighten us on this very critical time. And he's got some pretty cool information that we were just talking about that he'll share with us too. And before we do get to Charlie.
Well, first of all, Charlie, I really want to thank you for the Jasara Club. That website is beautiful. And if y'all haven't checked it out, you have to check it out. We have a slide that we add in all of our shows. It's really so well done. And also your Insider Club. And you can, that's at, I'm going to put my glasses on, Charlie Ward.
drcharlieward.com.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Chuck. Thank you. And for anybody that's an insider, you get all of Charlie's deep information, deep dives, and that you don't put that anywhere else, right, Charlie?
No, it comes out first on the Insider Club, and we also have an open call on Saturdays, and we had one again today, just because of what's going on, just to bring people up to speed as to what's happening with inside information, because there's a lot of people, especially old people, who are living in fear right now.
Yeah.
And it's fallen on your laps and my laps to take away that fear.
Let's do it. Let's do it then. And
Absolutely.
again, yeah. So, and also too, everybody, thank you again. And if you'd like to watch this episode, and as you know, with all of our social media restrictions really tightening the noose big time, you can go to spirituallyraw.live to check out our content there. We have exclusive content there, and you have 3 days on us. So check it out, enjoy yourself. I think you're gonna really love it. So, got a lot of important stuff. Yeah.
Well, firstly, most important.
Yep.
How's Justin?
He's absolutely.
She's got a
fabulous.
crush on your son.
I do. I'm like in love with Justin.
Yeah, look, I'm very, very blessed. 11 years ago, I lost my son, my firstborn son, at 27 years old, and never thought I'd get over it. And I was blessed enough 2 years later, 2 years later, to have Justin in my life. And although Lee will never be replaced, having Justin is a complete blessing from God. And just helps you. It's a bit like losing an arm. You never get over it, but you get used to it and you live with it. But having Justin has sort of helped the healing process. Yes, he's an absolute angel. I mean, a wonderful young man. I'm very, very proud of him.
Good for you. Yep. You've done well with him, Charlie.
How's everything? How's life in you? That's for sure. How's life in Spain right now?
It's completely and utterly nuts.
Is it?
Yeah, just today, I picked up Justin from gymnastics, and I went into a petrol station, a gas station, as you would call it in America, to refuel the car. And when I walked in, the woman said, "You must wear a mask." I said, "I have a certificate." And she said, "Oh dear, I'm going to have to go into quarantine now because you refused to wear a mask."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
That's serious.
And I sort of went, yeah, you're completely loop the loop, girl. You
Right.
go into quarantine for life and go and see if you can find another brain cell, because the one you've got's not working.
Yeah, let's just hope that doesn't happen here.
That is so twisted, but it's amazing how the mind has, or how people's minds have been so twisted, so manipulated.
You know, Charlie, I want to ask you this before we dive into the topics at hand, which everybody wants to know about. But what's your opinion on, so we were walking and we saw this very friendly people wearing their masks, right? And we realized it was in a hot day.
Yeah.
And we realized that
afternoon.
This is now their existence. This is how they see life in a hot day. What is your opinion as far as their abilities and how long maybe for them to retrain their mind that it's okay to now not to do this? I mean,
look, it's going to be, when I came out of a religious cult when I was 23 years old, it took me 2.5 years just to find my feet, and then a further 7.5 years to establish truth. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is years and years and years of indoctrination and brainwashing by mainstream media and television. Those people who don't watch the television have got a head start. There's quite a few of them out there. They've got sick and tired of it all. So they've got a head start. But the damage it's done, the amount of people who came to me after the election result and went, well, I bet you're feeling rather stupid now. And I've gone, explain to me why I'm feeling stupid. Well, Trump lost, didn't he? I said, did he? Who told you that? Did you get that from a good source? Well, it come on the news. I said, well, you might as well look down the toilet for gold. If you're looking for the truth out of mainstream media, you're more likely to find gold down your toilet. And they went, what do you mean? I've gone, well, look, get over it. I can assure you that for the next 4 years, Donald Trump will be in charge of America. I can assure you. Well, what, are you saying they've all got it wrong? I've gone, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Let's talk.
And they were like,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they say, so Charlie knows more than the whole of the mainstream media. I said, well, based on the information I've got, yes, I do, whether you like it or not. But I've actually done an awful lot of research, about 3,500 hours of research. And what they're doing, what I think everybody knows in their psyche, that Biden, you'd have to be mentally deranged to even consider voting for him. Because when you look at him, it's not the same person as it was 2 years ago. He seems to be on sort of life support batteries. There's something drastically wrong there. And you think he could run America and then be the leader of the civilized world? Come on, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work that one out.
Right.
I may have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. And you just look at it and go, really. So people have to wake up to it. There's some people are so fast asleep, it's scary. And they're going to get the shock of their life when they find out that Biden hasn't actually won. Now, I know from the inside information I had, because I work on the quantum financial system, I realized on the quantum voting system that he'd won by 80%. So
he'd won by 80%.
Yeah, he'd won by 80%. And so that means that 20% of people had voted for the other side. But then when you go, well, how on earth did they manage to twist this around so much? And you go, well, if you consider that 1% run the world, it's not particularly hard. They've got 19% of sheep around them that follow them around and agree with everything they say. But what I've tried to do is get people to understand that this has actually got nothing to do with Biden and Trump. This is a war between God and Satan.
Yep. Dark and light.
Dark and light. This is the Great Awakening, and there is only one winner. So it's not Satan.
And it's not Satan. Let's talk about this war, and I want to talk about where a lot of and really from your perspective, if you can help us here. So a lot of people are hanging their faith, their whole next move based on that letter behind your shoulder there, right? And so I wanted to ask your opinion on this. And there's different thought processes coming on right now. Number one, do you feel like it's a guide of sorts, or do you think we should be following that literally? Is my first question. My follow-up behind that, is there some sort of artificial intelligence that is actually driving that theory, the concept, if you would, that's actually disseminating this information?
One thing that's very simple, but that particular Q is a gold one, which represents the quantum system backed by gold. Having said that, the Q that you're referring to is the Q organization. Now, whether you want to call it QAnon or Q plus or whatever, when I started this journey, I didn't know anything about Q. So I did some research like I do. And I managed to find out that Q was actually formed in 1962. Oh,
really?
So I thought. I've now had somebody that's actually found evidence that it was around in 1840 when Abraham Lincoln was in power. So it looks like he was the person that may well have started. That's how far we can trace it back to. And the fundamentals of it in 1962 was that John F. Kennedy was worried that there's something going on to try and get him executed. So he had a little group of people outside of the CIA and the FBI and the agencies, the official agencies, that he entrusted within his group circle of people. And he referred to them as Q. And he gave them information so that if anything did happen, they would have the facts. So that was the foundation of Q. From what I found out, when I heard it was 1840, I haven't gone back and looked at that yet.
That doesn't surprise me.
Sorry?
That actually does not surprise me at all.
No. Then you look at John F. Kennedy's burial site, and it's in the shape of a Q.
Yeah.
So that sort of gives away certain aspects. So if we roll on over the number of years, the 70s, the 80s, what have you, the 90s, Q is still in existence, but every time it showed its head, people that were associated with it got executed or suddenly died of strange things. So they kept it a very low profile. And whilst they were keeping a very low profile, they formulated a plan. And they, along with what we now call the Alliance, were part of the team that created this plan, which involved getting Donald Trump to be the master of this plan. So then in 2016, they showed their head again. But this time they showed it with pride and knowing that Donald Trump was not going to take them down. But if I wind back a little bit there, just to justify that thing, that moment, Donald Trump and JFK Jr. were very close friends. And he made a promise to JFK Jr. that he would bring to justice the people who killed his father, because he knew who they were. And now we all know who they are. And it was nothing to do with Lee Harvey Oswald. That was just a name that was put out there for whatever reasons. So in 2016, it became QAnon. And my first thought was, if JFK set up Q, there was a fairly good chance that Trump set Anon and put them together. So that was the team. But then I got corrected and said, no, he was the Q plus part. So I went, okay. So one thing we know for sure is that the people in Q, the people in QAnon, the people in Q plus, the whole group of people, they're nearly all ex-military. There's only 10 of them in total. Sorry?
Do you think that, is it only humans, or do you think there's artificial intelligence? Do you think that there's two heads to that entity?
Coin?
Yeah. Is it like, for example, what we're seeing would be similarly, is there two parts that one is good and one is not good? One is dark, one is light.
There could be. I hadn't thought of it like that.
I've been thinking about it recently.
One thing that I do know is that, as I said earlier, Donald Trump is fronting up God's work without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, no question about that.
And when you made a reference to in the Q movement, I'm sure that God has got his hand over them as well. Now, as with any organization, and Trump is finding this out now, you can sometimes think you trust people and you find out they're not as trustworthy as you first thought. He's finding that out in his own government, you know. But this is the world of politics.
Yeah,
it's absolutely full of disgusting human beings.
What is your sense of what he's thinking about this right now? Do you think he's okay? Listen, I know exactly what's going to happen. This is going to play out where I am going to be, and I just need the American people to see it play out in this way, so I don't shake up anything or come across as a dictator? Or do you think he's legitimately like, holy shit, you know what I mean?
No,
what the hell happened there?
He's completely calm. He knows everything that's going on, and he's totally in control. 1,000,000%. There's absolutely no question about that. But he's expecting people like you and I to be out there as digital warriors, putting out the truth. That's what he's asking of us. And there's a very fine line between forcing it out there and putting it out in an attractive manner. You know, when I started my journey, I landed, as most people know, I started with 37 subscribers. On YouTube, they took me down when I had 176,000, I think it was. And I was a little bit upset at losing 176,000 subscribers. And then we set up another one that went up to 60 odd thousand. We set up another one, went up to 40 or 50,000 and so on. They took them all down. They took down my Facebook that I've had for 16 years with lots of personal family photos. Took the lot, took Instagram down, took Twitter down, took everything down. We keep starting up new ones, but they keep taking them down. But then I decided to set up my own platform, Dr. Charlie Ward, and it's only been up for 4 weeks, and we've now passed 2 million.
Wow, that's awesome! Congratulations.
Well, it's the number is not for my own ego. It's the fact that we're starting to get the message out.
Yeah, people are really.
And the more people we can get the message to, the better.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 Zoom conversations a day. I did 7 yesterday. I think I've only done 5 or 6 today, but it's important to get the message out to people. And because if you look at the television, you will not find out the truth. And we're about to see something huge happen. Because what the mainstream media did by publishing the president-elect incorrectly, they committed treason.
They did.
That falls under.
So by them verbalizing this is a new president-elect, that is considered treason?
It's considered treason.
Okay. And then who ultimately, Charlie, then is responsible for that? Is it the actual heads of the network, or is it the actual individual, maybe i.e. the host of that show or whatever that broadcast that? Who actually
I would imagine the buck will stop with the owner, but the editor and the journalist who actually put it out. So there'll be a number of people, but I know that there has been hundreds of statements that have been affidavits, as you call them in America, signed affidavits of hard evidence of fraudulent practice. And as I mentioned to you earlier, we got a message through today saying that the precedent set by the United States Supreme Court that SCOTUS is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled in a landmark case, United States versus Throckmorton, 98 US 61, Supreme Court 1878, that fraud vitiates everything. By categorically asserting that fraud vitiates everything, the Supreme Court of the United States affirms that perpetrating fraud undermines the entire endeavor and the whole contract. The complete judgment, the final result, or even the election outcome, etc. Once fraud is proven, the enterprise is in its entirety, such as POTUS candidacy, has been irreparably tainted by this result and invalidated. In order words, I should say in order words, I don't know, or other words, if it was only the Michigan vote that was stolen by the Team Biden, their victory would still be nullified, since fraud vitiates everything. Vitiates is, in the legal context, means negates, quashes, annuls, invalidates, revokes, and abrogates. President Trump is therefore the victor of the 2020 POTUS election by default, by law, and according to the US Constitution.
That's a bombshell.
Yeah.
So
confirmed on the stateofthenation.com.
When do we?
Wait, I'm sorry, because people are going to ask me where did you see that? We'd like to share a story. While it may sound fictional, it's very real and happening right now in front of our very eyes. It's called The Great Awakening. Our sisters and brothers that come on Spiritually Raw are doing everything to help expand global consciousness, and in many cases putting everything on the line to share their messages about what's happening around the world for the greater good of humanity, while exposing the truth of the deep state and the dark forces behind it all. We are living in the most unbelievable times. Some may even say biblical, scary for many and yet exhilarating for others. Together we are taking part in getting everyone acclimated to the Great Awakening process and the exciting new discoveries that lie ahead. The sad part is many of our amazing guests are being heavily censored, socially shamed, and outright banned on many platforms for exposing the truth and piercing the veil. By becoming a viewer, you bring your powerful energy towards this global movement of other truth seekers. If you're resonating with our show, please let us know by hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, turn on the notification, and leave some comments. Together, we will turn the universal key to global harmony and create a unified world. And remember, tune in often, tell all your friends, and most importantly, may all your dreams come true. Thanks, and God bless Patriots worldwide.